Welcome back to Reinvention Real Talk, the podcast where we dive into powerful stories of growth, transformation, and the courage to create new chapters in life. Today, I am beyond excited to sit down with someone who has truly redefined what it means to reinvent yourself. He not only is the world's most recognized cosmetic dentist with clients ranging from Anne Hathaway, Usher to Katy Perry and Mark Wahlberg, but also a serial entrepreneur, best-selling author, philanthropist, and visionary. You may know him from TV shows like Extreme Makeover, The Doctors, The Oprah Winfrey Show, and Good Morning America. But beyond the Hollywood smile makeovers, Dr. Bill Dorfman has built a legacy of innovation, creating industry-changing products like Zoom. Yes, exactly that Zoom that you're thinking of to get your teeth white. And it is the #1 professional whitening brand in the USA. And today he continues to expand his reach with new consumer innovations like POOOF, Vanishing whitening strips, and even a bold new energy product, Ballz gum. Dr. Dorfman is a living example of how reinvention can take you from a world-class professional career into building brands and movements that impact millions. Dr. Bill, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. How are you, Karen?
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Bill. Wonderful. I'm very excited to have you on the show. I want to get right into it. Let me ask you, you've been called America's dentist, but your journey started long before the bright lights of Hollywood. Take us back. What first inspired you to pursue this industry, and at what point did you realize you wanted to go beyond being just a traditional dentist?
You know, it's funny. I literally fell into dentistry. I was a little kid. I was playing in my living room. I hit the coffee table and I knocked out my baby teeth.
Oh.
And we just had a really great family dentist, and
Mhm.
he put me back together, and he ensured that my permanent teeth would grow in
Mhm.
naturally and unaffected. And it was like so intriguing to me what he was doing. And I was the oldest of 5 kids, so whenever my siblings would come, I would stand by the chair and watch and shadow him. And I
Mhm.
thought, this is what I want to do. I want to help people like this. And it just stuck. And it made going through school really easy for me, because I just said, well, what would a dentist take? And then I
Mhm.
took those classes. And in dental school, I think I realized that nobody ever gets really excited when you make an A+ root canal, but when
Mhm.
you make an A+ crown or cap or veneer on their front tooth,
Uh-huh.
it changes their life. And so that's when I decided to really explore a career in cosmetic dentistry. And I started
Mhm.
taking hours and hours of CE courses on facial aesthetics and cosmetic dentistry. And then lo and behold, in 2003, ABC gave me the opportunity of a lifetime, and they made me the featured dentist on their hit show, Extreme Makeover, where for the first time ever, cosmetic
Mhm.
dentistry was highlighted on primetime TV every
Oh,
Thursday
wow.
night. And I
Okay.
got to show not just America, but the
Mhm.
world
Yeah.
all of the great and innovative techniques that cosmetic dentistry has to offer. And it
Mhm.
literally changed the face of cosmetic dentistry worldwide.
Absolutely. I mean, it changed so many lives, and people got to see that. Millions got to see you change lives and how, dentistry does that. So, very big kudos to you, and what absolutely hard work pays off, and that proves it right there. So, many people know you as a celebrity dentist, but few know about your time in Switzerland early in your career. How did that experience abroad shape your vision of what was possible in dentistry and in your personal life?
Switzerland was really a pie in the sky dream for
Mhm.
me. I grew up in a very, very modest family. We never traveled. In fact, I had never been on an airplane until I went to college, and I was a gymnast, so I got to travel
Okay.
with the football team. I would do
Okay.
acrobatics and stuff at the football games,
Oh.
and And I thought, I was the youngest graduate in all of California. I graduated dental school at 24. And I
Oh,
thought, if I'm going to be tethered to an office for the next 30, 40, 50 years
yeah.
without ever having really like lived anywhere else, and to be honest with you, the guys who really inspired me in my dental school, because Utah didn't have a dental school, we had about 30 guys that came from Utah to my dental
Oh,
school, and most
okay.
of them were LDS. And these
Mhm,
guys had all been on missions and had
mhm,
lived abroad for 2 years, and they were all bilingual. And I was really jealous. And when I heard about this opportunity where I could actually live in Switzerland and
mhm.
work in a Swiss clinic and learn, another language, and I thought, okay, this will be my
Yeah,
mission trip.
yeah.
And now je peux parler français. I
Mhm.
couldn't speak a word of French. Now I'm fluent. I have great lifelong friends. I have a godson in Switzerland, and
Mm,
for me, it was just a great opportunity to kind of go outside of my comfort zone
mhm.
and really experience the world before coming back and settling down and establishing a practice.
And now what made you choose Switzerland? Was it just an opportunity that was given to you, or was it,
Well,
something that
first of
you did
all,
specifically?
nothing has ever been given to me in my
Mhm.
life.
Or
You
presented to
have
you?
to understand that there were
Yes.
400 applicants for one
Oh,
job.
wow. Okay.
Switzerland was the only country that
Mhm.
wasn't a third world country that offered a position. And
Okay.
the only reason I could practice with my American license was because it was established in a Swiss hospital under the Swiss hospital. So I could practice under their license, because otherwise you can't practice dentistry in foreign countries. Now, if you go to
Okay.
third world countries, they let you. But I
Mhm.
wanted to practice,
Yes.
in a modern, urban, city.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so, knowing that there were 400 applicants and knowing that I didn't really have any outstanding qualities,
Mhm.
um, it wasn't like I was bilingual already. I had zero experience. I was graduating dental school. I did everything I could to get that job. I had every
Mhm.
professor in my dental school write me letters of recommendation. I
Mhm.
called the director on a weekly basis. And then one time when I was on the phone and I really realized that none of these things I was doing was really, like getting me closer to the job, I said, hey, can I take you to lunch? Because I had heard that that's a good way to get to know people.
Yeah.
And I don't even know where it came from. He said, well, yeah, but you're in San Francisco and I'm in Switzerland. I said, no problem. I'll fly there, which was even funnier because I was broke as broke could be.
Okay.
But I borrowed money. I flew to Switzerland. He interviewed me, hired me, and the rest is history.
Wow. So definitely even back then, being so young as a college student, you really had like that determination, you had that drive, you had that vision, and you went after it. That is amazing. Oh wow, that's a great story. I love that. See, and not a lot of people know that, and I got that, so I got that scoop. I love it. And now let's go fast forward to many years forward, and now you are working with high profile clients. You've been for many, many, many years, and that's intimidating to some. How do you learn to navigate the pressure of serving celebrities while still staying grounded in your purpose?
I was very fortunate. When I started practicing, I worked for an established cosmetic dentist, and
Okay.
he had a great practice, and I really
Hmm.
kind of got my fingers wet, so to say, and
Yeah.
started working. And then an opportunity came up with a dentist named Stanley Vogel.
Okay.
Stanley, we lost several years ago, but Stanley
Mhm.
was the first true Hollywood dentist.
Okay.
And he needed an associate. And
Mhm.
my laboratory, who I became very close with, Da Vinci Dental, introduced me to Stanley and he hired me. And it was a real game changer for me. I mean, the very first day I was in the office, I treated 4 or 5 Academy Award winners and
Mm,
politicians. And I mean, but every day was like that. And,
yeah.
I was this kid that grew up in the valley. I never met a famous person. I didn't know how to talk to them. I didn't, and
Yeah.
so he didn't really teach me like didactic skills. What he taught me was how to communicate with people on a completely different level than I had ever experienced. And that was incredibly valuable. And as a result, I started to not only work there, but I built my own practice. And as my practice started to pick up steam, I eventually introduced him to a friend of mine who took over that position. But I'll never forget my first really big celebrity patient in my office was MGM's biggest star, Esther
Okay.
Williams. And,
Wow.
Esther came in,
Hmm.
and this was 1988 or 89.
Okay.
And I'll never forget, she looked at me and she said, "Are you old enough to be doing this?" And Esther stayed with me her entire life. In fact, my last visit with Esther was right before she passed. And
Mm,
she came in with her helper Deb, and Deb was the best. And
mm.
Esther always looked like $1 million.
Yeah.
And she came in. I said, "Esther, you look gorgeous." She says, "Yeah, it's all Deb." She says, "She's on the life plan." I go, "What do you mean?" She goes, "No, she's with me for life." I go, "Oh,
Oh.
that's so sweet." She said, "So are you." And
Oh.
I was her dentist for the rest of her life.
How
And
wonderful.
she shared, Esther lived through a period of Hollywood we'll never see again. In fact,
Mhm.
I'll give you one quick little tidbit. Esther's
Uh-huh.
the only star who had
Okay.
2 complete dressing rooms. You know why?
Mm, no.
Wet days and dry days.
Really?
All of her films, she was a swimming star. She was an Olympic diver, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
um, on the days when she was in the pool, she was
Okay.
covered in Vaseline. And so if she sat
Oh,
on any of her furniture or was wet, it would ruin it. So they had
okay.
one room where all the furniture was waterproof, and the other was like a normal dressing room. They made her
Wow.
hairdos with Vaseline. Can you imagine how hard it would be to
Wow.
wash Vaseline? I mean, that's what held her hair was Vaseline.
Yes. Yes. Wow, that is incredible. Oh my gosh. Thank you for giving us that insight. That's a great story. And I love that she was with you till the end. That's just that shows how much that your patients do love you, whether it's, a entrepreneur, a celebrity, they are there and they want their Dr. Bill. And now I want to go, Dr. Bill, from dentistry to entrepreneurship because this is a little interesting about you. Because your biggest reinvention has come and it's moved you from being a dentist to becoming an entrepreneur. What was the moment that sparked the creation of Zoom Whitening, and how did you recognize the whitening could completely change the industry? Because for me, I can't get my teeth white enough. They're white and they're beautiful. That Zoom is addictive.
Well, guess what? I have something even better now.
Oh, okay.
I have a take-home system that
Okay.
you don't have to go to the dentist. I sold Zoom back
Okay.
in 2010, but
Okay.
Zoom was not an out-of-the-box smash hit. There was an
Oh,
evolution to it. So
okay.
I'll kind of give you a little bit of history. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Basically, in about 1988,
Mm-hmm.
89,
Mm-hmm.
tooth whitening was introduced.
Okay.
The original product was called White and Bright, and it was not great.
Okay.
Um, but it worked.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I get this random phone call from the CEO of White and
Mm-hmm.
Bright saying,
Mm-hmm.
"Dr. Bill, you sell more whitening product than any other dentist in the country. How do you
Mm.
do it?" Well, I'm in
Okay.
Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
But I said, that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about ways to make your product better. I said, the taste is disgusting. And I like gave him a whole litany of problems. And he was not interested at all. He's like, you're like a 30-year-old kid, you're like, go back to work. And so I happened to meet an amazing man who's still my best friend. In fact, he's coming to stay over at my place tonight.
Okay.
It was Robert Heyman, and his father, Fred Heyman, created Giorgio Cosmetics. And Robert grew up in the cosmetic industry. And Robert and I became best friends. We met at a charity event. And I said to Robert, I said, Robert, I really think there's room for a new whitening product. And I kind of mentioned all the things I wanted to do. And he became my partner in business. And we went ahead and we launched a new product called Night White. And Night White was a take-home tooth whitening product, which soon became the #1 tooth whitening product on the market. But soon after that, in about the year 2000, 2001, the in-office whitening started. So now you have the option of either doing it at home, which took a little bit more time, or just going to the office, doing Zoom and sitting back and doing it. And so we introduced Zoom to the market, and it quickly became the #1 in-office tooth whitening product. And then, of course, with ABC's Extreme Makeover, we exploded and became a household name. I mean, it was pretty amazing.
It is. It's a difference. I mean, you just getting teeth whitened, I mean, that just brings it up another level. And then imagine getting a nice cosmetic dentistry done too.
So, during the pandemic, I was sitting at home and I really didn't have much to do. And when we sold Zoom, I had to sign a non-compete. Well, that expired. And I was approached by a large company and said, hey, Dr. Bill, if you can come up with a new tooth whitening product, we'll market it for you.
Yeah.
And so I did. And so the new product is POOOF. And POOOF is a dissolving whitening strip. So the cool thing about this is that the #1 take-home product today, over-the-counter OTC product, are white strips. But these strips are 37% more effective than the leading product in a 10-day in vitro study. And you put them on your teeth and they melt. So they disappear. So the tagline is stains disappear, strips disappear, and poof, your teeth are white. And they taste great, they smell great, and also we use a zero sensitivity formula, so they don't cause sensitivity that like some of the other take-home whitening products. So POOOF is now available on Amazon. I honestly think this product will become a category killer. It's pretty phenomenal, and we're getting a lot of traction in sales.
Oh, I love that. And we're going to link all that. We're going to link an Amazon link to POOOF. We're definitely going to have that all in the show notes for the listeners. So definitely try this out, because that is interesting that they disappear, because sometimes, you have to wait and then you peel them off. So I love that it disappears.
Yeah, and then when you peel them off, you've got like that gross, sticky, yucky.
Yes. Yeah.
With these, you don't get that at all.
Yeah, I love that. That is wonderful. And now we do have to talk about something else in the market, and we have to talk about that, and that's Ballz. And that is a caffeinated gum with 2 shots of espresso in every piece. Now that's bold, Dr. Bill. What inspired you to create this? And how do you see it fitting into your broader vision for health, wellness, and everyday performance?
So here's the thing. I love caffeine. I hate coffee. Right? And so, and especially as a dentist, like I don't want to come and work on a patient and smell like coffee, and also coffee stains your teeth and. So what I used to do is I used to use no dose, which is, 200 milligrams of caffeine. Well, the problem with no dose is that if I swallowed it, it took about 30 minutes to kick in. If I chewed it, it worked like in 10 minutes, but it's kind of gross, you know?
Hmm.
So what I would do is we had these little gumballs. I would pop a
Okay.
gumball and chew it with the gumball, and then I kind of got the best of both worlds. And so I went
Hmm.
to the manufacturer who made our gumballs, and I said, "Hey, do you can you incorporate um, caffeine in a gumball?" And they said,
Hmm.
"Yes, we can." And
Kickballs is
kickballs.
born. I
Kickballs was
love it.
born. They come in these little tins, and
Uh-huh.
we realize rather rapidly that you need
Hmm.
to put cushion in the tin. Otherwise, they
Okay.
make a lot of noise in your pocket. So,
Yes.
so
Okay.
um, now you see, you don't hear anything, and they're
Yes.
really convenient. It's 110 milligrams of caffeine per
Hmm.
kickball, and the
Okay.
tagline for kickballs is kickballs, kickballs.
And that's also available on Amazon?
Yeah, and the cool thing about kickballs, I use this as my
Hmm.
pre-workout. Um,
Okay.
I go to the gym, and instead of
Mhm.
an energy drink that makes you bloated and all that, I use kickballs. You
Yes.
know, when you're driving late at night and you're kind of tired, you don't have to like
Yeah.
pull over and find. And by the way, if you do pull over and find a Starbucks, once you have a
Mhm.
coffee, 20 minutes later, you got to find a bathroom. With kickballs,
Yes,
that's
yes,
not the case.
exactly.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
there are so many advantages to having caffeine. So, think of like Red Bull in a gumball without all the liquid.
Mhm. Oh, wow. I love that. Yeah, and it's so convenient. You have it in your pocket, like you said, in your car, in your purse, so it's convenient. And, right there, fresh breath and also a caffeine kick. So I love that product. That is fantastic. And that's just come out recently, correct?
And I've got two more big things going on too.
Oh, okay. Hold on. You got to tell me because we have here a preview of everything. So I want to know all this.
All right. Number one, Georgia
Uh-huh.
Faith Dorfman. My daughter
Okay.
Georgie has launched
Okay.
an amazing clothing line for young women
Okay.
called All My
Ooh.
Love. She
Okay.
is currently in Nordstrom's. She's
Mm-hmm.
speaking to two other big brick and mortar stores. She got a
Mm-hmm.
huge write up in Vogue magazine, and her
Whoa.
clothing is phenomenal. And actually, there's some stuff guys can wear. She's got some
Okay.
beautiful cashmere things and stuff like that. But you got to check it out. It's very minimalistic, very chic, and just I'm so proud of her. She's just built this
Oh.
company all on her own, and
Mm.
it's exploding, and it's so much fun watching her. In fact, I'm sitting in the Leap office right now, which we need to talk about
Oh.
Leap a little bit. And
Yes.
this is where she has most of her storage of her stuff. Behind this big screen here are shelves and shelves and
Yeah.
shelves of All My Love. So
Love it.
that's
Mm-hmm.
Georgie girl. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Her twin sister, Charlie, does social media marketing. So I just met with
Okay.
them. Her agency Q is great, and we're hopefully going to work with them with Kickballs and
Mm-hmm.
Poof. And then my oldest daughter, Anna,
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
starting an amazing singing career. And she
Mm.
was discovered by Diane Warren in my office. And she is now
Okay.
going out on tour and opening in 24 cities for Jesse McCartney. And the tour
Oh,
starts the end of
wow.
September, goes through the middle of November. What city are you in, Karen?
I'm in Miami.
Well, she will be in Miami, so we'll have to get
Oh,
you tickets. You'll have to
yes,
go.
I will
Her
definitely have to
music
check her
is
out.
phenomenal. She's kind of a mix of Lana Del Rey,
Mm.
Adele, and
Ooh.
Amy Winehouse. Like if you
Ooh.
mix those three together, but
Yes.
her music is very soulful. She's working with an amazing producer named AC Burrell, who's been with
Okay.
Diane Warren for over 15
Mm-hmm.
years. And she's
Yes.
got 3 songs out already on Spotify. Now, I told her, I
Wow.
said, look, Anna, if you're going to be a dentist, keep Dorfman, but as a
Yeah.
singer, not so good. So her
Oh,
actual
goodness.
stage name is Anna Sky,
Ooh.
Anasky. and you can
Love
find
that.
her on TikTok and Spotify and Instagram and all that under that. So those are my four big things going on in my life right now.
You're not only an entrepreneur for yourself, I can hear the joy and the pride that you had speaking about your daughters and all their endeavors. So that is wonderful. Good job as a dad.
Thank
And
you.
let's
And
talk
Karen,
that.
yeah, let me just end with my mantra in life, which
Yes.
is learn so you can earn and then
Yeah.
return. And
Yes. Oh,
my
huge. I love
big return is Leap.
Leap. That was my question about Leap. I
So
want to know
Leap
all about Leap.
is it's a nonprofit that we set up. We are
Hmm.
in our 19th year. We put on a
Oh, wow.
1 week program every year at UCLA. We'll
Hmm.
have about 400 students. The cool thing about
Hmm.
LEAP is that 60% of the students come from inner city school kids, and they come on
Hmm.
scholarship. We go out and we raise hundreds of thousands of dollars so that these students who couldn't afford to go to a program like this can. And we get a
Hmm.
great conglomeration of students, not just US, from Canada, from Australia, from all over the world. And we bring in some of the greatest speakers ever. Mark
Yeah.
Wahlberg, Richard Branson,
Wow.
Anthony Hopkins, Eva Longoria, Paula Abdul. I mean, it's just an amazing program. And at LEAP, we teach these students skills you need to be successful that you don't
Mm.
typically learn in school. And it works.
Yeah.
And I mean, LEAP literally changes these kids' lives.
Completely. And you've given back to the community, which is so important. You're making sure of that to give back. I think a lot of people, once they have that success, sometimes they don't. And you definitely are giving back. You're changing lives, for these. Also, coming up, you're doing mindset shifts almost for them, and you see things that change in them, which I think is wonderful.
Yeah. And
It's
you know what
it
makes
says a lot
me
about your character.
the proudest thing is, you know, Georgie
Mhm.
comes every year and talks
Oh,
about how she started All My Love, and she's gone through the trajectory of her growth over the last 3 years. So she comes every
mhm,
year, and the students love to listen because
mhm.
she went through LEAP. And
Yeah.
she's using all the things. And Anna too. Anna's come, twice at LEAP. She's performed both times and really
Mm.
talks about, transitioning from my kid was a scientist,
Wow.
from being a scientist to, now becoming a pop singer. And Charlie
Yes.
participates too. In fact,
Mm.
she had her boyfriend come as a mentor this year. We do
Wow.
the program culminates on Friday with something we call a mentor workshop, where we bring
Mm.
in about 100 different professionals from all walks of life, and the students sit there and they basically talk with these mentors and learn about their job. And Charlie had Michael come in, and he was a big hit at Leap this year, so it was super exciting.
Proud Papa, you can definitely hear it in your voice. It is beautiful. I love this conversation. I could keep going, Dr. Bill, but we are coming to an end. I do have to ask you this final question. I ask this of all my guests. In one word, what does reinvention mean to you?
It's funny because reinvention versus invention, I would say reinvention is ingenuity.
Oh, that is beautiful. We are going to leave our listeners with that word that Dr. Bill just gave you. I think it is amazing. Dr. Bill, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing such powerful stories of innovation, impact, reinvention, transformation, Hollywood smiles, and just creating the most amazing products that touch millions in our everyday's lives. You are really an example of the journey and the reminder that this isn't about starting over, it is about expanding and what is possible. Now, to my listeners, you'll find all of Dr. Bill Dorfman's links, including his new products, his practice, and his foundation in the show notes. I am going to also link his daughter's links also, because that is a proud papa right there. And as a mother, that makes me so happy to hear him speak like that of his daughters. Thank you, Dr. Bill, for joining us. It has been such a pleasure, such an honor. And as always, thank you for tuning in. I am Karen Larea, and this is Reinvention Real Talk. Thank you, Dr. Bill Dorfman.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.